Hey guys, happy Tuesday again. It's Tuesday evening now. I went to work, I went grocery shopping, I dropped the grandkids off at home, I made dinner, and now I'm here talking to you. And tonight I want to talk about something that I really want your guys' input on this. I'm hoping you will help enlighten me. I want to talk about what is going on between men and women relationships right now because things have totally changed from my generation till now, and all I can go on is my personal observation of what I'm seeing, and I don't really understand what everybody's mindset is. For instance, I have a single daughter in her 30s. She has a great career. She's very independent, beautiful, smart, funny. She's raising a daughter that she has from a previous relationship. She's still very close friends with the father, and they live by each other and stuff. And she has absolutely no interest in dating. People are always offering to set her up, and she's like, oh God. She just, like, right now she's just devoted to, her career's fairly new, and she's really working on that, and working her way up basically, and raising a daughter by herself. Her hands are full, she's busy. She can't even think about that, you know and she's had several boyfriends through the years, several relationships, but it usually ends up with guys that are very needy. Because she's a very independent person, she seems to be attracting guys that are very needy and looking for a mother, because she's also very nurturing. She was that way as a child. She mothered me. And so those are the kind of guys she's attracting, but those aren't the kind of guys she wants to be with. So she's decided until she can change that, she's just not interested. And I get it. I get it. You know, the thing is, I was raised that was my top priority, was to grow up, get married, have a family, so you're constantly told, you need to have a man, you need to have a man. And instead of being told, you can do whatever on your own, and if you meet somebody that you connect with, great. Then if you want to get married and have kids, that's what you should do. But that wasn't how it was approached. It was like, you need a man, that's your number one priority, that's what you need to focus on. Fortunately for me, I married somebody that I actually love. I didn't just run out and marry somebody because I needed somebody. I didn't, even though that was encouraged, I didn't feel that way. I knew that I didn't want to just marry anybody. I wanted to make sure I was going to be with this person for life. And we've been married for 43 years. But that's my generation, 60s and above. I have noticed that the people in the generation just below me, in their 50s, those are the ones I've noticed, and this is on my observation, I could be wrong, but I see a lot of divorce. Like, relationships are disposable. And I totally get people separating because of, making a bad mistake, or, their partner was abusive, mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever. I get it. I'm not saying nobody should ever get divorced. Obviously there's reasons for getting divorced, but I'm just saying I see it more often in that generation. And I don't know if it's because they went into relationships way too quickly, and then they found themselves in this position where there was somebody that they don't want to spend the rest of their life with. I don't know. It's just my observation. But I'm curious where, we're headed with this, because like I said, I see more and more women um, choosing to be single, and I'm seeing men the same way. They're actually choosing to be single. I have a brother. He was married a couple times, And he's a nice looking guy. He's a contractor and he's got his own home. He could feasibly meet somebody and get married. He has no interest in dating. And people ask him all the time. They always want to set him up. And he's like, no, thank you. He's tired. It's having a relationship, takes a lot of work, you know? And so I get that, but I'm just curious what's going to happen because so many of my friends and family members are choosing to stay single. I'm not seeing people get married like it used to be. Everybody, every year, there was somebody getting married and having babies and all that stuff. And that's another thing. People are choosing not to have kids. And that's another thing I totally get. I mean, come on, the state of the world today. That makes sense to me. But the fact that people just don't even want to be bothered with the relationship anymore. I just want to understand, what's going on. What do you think? Why do you think that people are choosing to be single? And the thing is, these people that are single, they all seem relatively happy. It's not like any of them seem sad or desperate. Like my daughter, she leads a very full life. She's very active. She has her friends. She's always doing things. She seems very content. And the same with my brother. Neither one of them seem lonely and like, oh, they need somebody. I don't see that at all. They seem very, very happy. And I was led to believe that, you'd be miserable and lonely if you didn't have a partner. Because my mom, that's a tragic tale. My mom was married 3 times. The first time she was married for love. She was head over heels in love with him. He was a musician, very handsome, fell in love, got married, have 5 kids, boom, 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 within 5 years. Her sister, who was dying of kidney failure, needed her help. So she went to stay with her sister while she was dying. She was gone for a couple weeks. And my uncle and his wife helped watch the kids while she was gone. Well, when she came back, her husband and my uncle's wife got together and they lived in a duplex. And so when my mom came back, her brother's wife had moved into her duplex. So she ended up having to move in with her brother. It was a messy situation. Anyway, they ended up getting divorced. And she was brokenhearted. He took the 2 older boys. She took the 3 younger ones. She didn't have me at this point. And the next time she got married because she had 3 kids plus 2 part-time. She didn't get any child support. And there was I don't even know if there was government assistance or anything back then. She went to work as a cashier at Safeway. And she ended up marrying her mailman because she wasn't in the dating scene. And that was the only other guy she saw, either guys at work or, her mailman. He came by every day. So she ended up marrying her mailman. He ended up being a monster. He totally abused my siblings terribly. She didn't know about it yet. She got pregnant. She had me. It wasn't until I was a couple years old that she realized what was going on. And so by then, she left him. And then the 3rd husband she met working at Safeway, my stepdad, who was a really good guy. He was in the military, he was a Marine. And even though at this point, she had 5 kids, my 2 older brothers were being raised by their father, so they weren't around as much. But she still had the 3 of us. He married her, and he ended up adopting us. And then they got married, and she had another child, my younger brother, and they were married for 35 years until she passed away. Now that time she wasn't married for love, but she loved him because he was good to her and he helped her. I mean, how many men would have married a woman with that many kids and adopted them? So yeah, he was a good guy. And they stayed together, and she was happier with him than she was with the guy that she was madly in love with, the first one, because he, obviously. But it's so funny because I remember that even when this is how my mother was raised, this is the kind of wife she was. Even when they would argue and they'd fight or whatever, she would still make his dinner, put it on the table, but she wouldn't eat with him. She'd leave the room because that's what you do. And she would work part-time jobs. She didn't drive, but she always worked part-time jobs, and he let her keep her money. Her money was for her, and she spent it on us, the house and the kids or whatnot. And I just remember that she she like at 30 minutes before she knew he was coming home, she'd make sure her makeup looked good and her hair was brushed, and she did it just like out of those books on how to be a good housewife. That was my mom. Make sure dinner's on the stove before they come home, and vacuum, and make sure you're pretty, and she did all that stuff. And yeah, I thought it was so cute, and they seemed very happy for the most part. They had very few issues, and so I was fortunate to grow up in a household like that. And they say all we know about relationships is what we see as children growing up, which is usually our parents. So depending on your parents' relationship, that's usually how you enter into your relationship. And my husband's family was basically the same way, even though his family was very educated. His mom had gone to school to be a doctor, but she ended up being a pharmacist. And back then you had to go to school for years to be a pharmacist. She had changed, and her sister ended up becoming a doctor. They went to Creighton Prep in Nebraska, and they were one of the first women to go to school back then for that medical school. But anyway, even though she made a ton of money as a pharmacist and stuff, she still was very much the homemaker. She cooked and cleaned, and she did all this stuff and took care of the kids. And my husband's father was an engineer, but it was the traditional family life like mine was, except that my family, they were blue collar workers. Well, my dad was in the military, and then he started a construction company. But that's what we both grew up with, and so that's what we knew. And the funny thing was, neither one of us really wanted that. And that was our biggest obstacle when we were first married. The first few years we were playing those roles because that's what we knew, but we realized that we weren't really happy. That wasn't us. And the one thing our therapist taught us is, each relationship is unique. You have to make it so that it fits both of you. What do you want out of this relationship? And it really helped us. We realized that we didn't necessarily want the same things that our parents had. And so I think that's what helped us maintain our relationship for 43 years. We worked together as a team. But as much as I want that for my kids, I wish they would have that. I've noticed that relationships they're different. They're not like they used to be. And my boys, they have their family life, and it's not the same as ours. It's different, but they're content, and they're doing things differently. But I'm just curious how people look at it. Do you want that? Does anybody want that old traditional marriage, or is that just an antiquated idea? What do people want out of relationships? What are they looking for? I would think, like my daughter, she just wants a partner, a friend, somebody that she can share her life with. She doesn't need anybody financially. It would be nice to have two incomes. She admits that would be great, but she's not looking to be rescued or anything like that. That's from my mom's era. And that's what I see with most women nowadays. That's not what they're looking for anymore, that traditional marriage. Or maybe some people are. Maybe they do want that. I don't know. I'm really curious. I want to know what you think. Do you think what do men want? Do they want a helpmate? Do they want a mother figure? Do they want a sugar mama? the younger men, what is it that you think they're looking for? Because I'm sure I have very few guys on my channel that are under 60. But yeah, if you're like under 40, I'm curious, what are you looking for? I would really like to know what are guys looking for in a relationship these days, and for you younger women under 40 or even 50, what are you looking for in a relationship? I'm just curious or nosy, but I can't figure it out. I watch these things on TikTok and YouTube, and I see how everybody is, and it just seems like we're moving away from those old traditional roles, and probably rightly so, because I don't think most people were happy with that. You know what I mean? We did it because that's what we were told we were supposed to want, and I don't think everybody did. Some people, I imagine there's some people that like that and they were comfortable in those roles, but I don't think everybody did. But that's what we were told. That's how it was supposed to be. And I think that's why we see so many marriages that didn't work, because people realized they didn't want that, but they didn't know what they wanted, you know? So I don't know. It's just something that I've been curious about. And I thought, who better to ask than you guys? You know, I have a very fairly diverse group here. According to my analytics, I have 40% men, 60% women, and you guys are anywhere from the vast majority of you are, 40 to 60 something, but I do have people in their 30s, and I even have people in their, it says the 18 to 24 or 18 to 20 something group. So you are the ones I want to hear from. Well, I want to hear from all of you, but just the younger ones especially. I'm curious to see, because I've noticed even with my granddaughter, she's in high school. She's so busy worrying about college and her grades, and she has her friends, and she's very social, and she's just drop dead gorgeous, and honor roll student and everything, and she never has no interest. It's like, and when I was going to school, that's all it was about, and you're not seeing that anymore. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. It's just different, and I'm just curious as to why, and what do you think's going to happen? So, up 17 minutes. I'm going to end it now. Please let me know. Like I said, I am truly curious to find out what people want out of relationships nowadays. What do you think? What's your observation? Let me know. And yeah, I'll see you in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot, guys.